Hi everyone, welcome back. Thanks for joining us today. We've got a brand new story to share with you. So let's begin. My name's Everett, and if I'm being brutally honest, trying to be the man for a woman with 3 kids has been the biggest regret of my life. And what did I get in return? She cheated on me with the kids' deadbeat biological father. Then she packed up and left. And the craziest part? Even after all of that, she still expected me to stay in the kids' lives. I'm not here to point fingers or blame anyone but myself. Every decision I made was mine, and I own that. But if you stick around, I'll walk you through exactly how it all began from the beginning, and how things spiraled into something I never expected. It was about 5 years ago. Back then, I was working full-time as a mechanic in an auto shop. Then one day, I met Angelina. She was juggling life with 3 young kids, 2 boys and a girl, ages 2, 5, and 7. It wasn't hard to tell she was struggling. We met through a mutual acquaintance who brought her car to my shop. Angelina's car was barely running, and she didn't have the money to fix it. She looked embarrassed when she admitted that, and the honesty in her eyes made me feel for her. I told her I'd see what I could do, and ended up fixing the car for free. She thanked me like I had just given her the world, and I didn't think much of it after that. But that wasn't the last I'd see of her. She came back a couple of weeks later, needing another small repair. This time, she brought her kids. I didn't have a waiting area good enough for kids, so I let them sit near the office with a few snacks from the vending machine. They were shy at first, especially the oldest boy, but after a while, they warmed up to me. That was the first day I saw what kind of chaos Angelina was managing on her own. 3 kids, and no one around to help her. That's when I started stepping in as someone trying to be decent. I'd help with school drop-offs if I had the time. Sometimes I'd swing by her place to check on the car, bring groceries if she needed them. I saw it as helping someone who clearly needed support. Her ex, the father of her kids, was nowhere in the picture. He'd been locked up for selling drugs and was serving time. From what Angelina told me, he'd never been reliable even before prison. In fact, she used to hide from him when he was around, always afraid of what kind of trouble he'd bring with him. So, with him out of the picture, I guess she was doing her best on her own. But raising 3 kids by yourself? That's not just hard, it's damn near impossible without help. Over the next few months, something changed not just between me and the kids, but between me and Angelina too. We spent more time together, and slowly, what started as me just being the guy who helps out turned into something more. Before I knew it, we were dating. I knew what I was walking into. Or, at least I thought I did. We didn't rush things, but it wasn't long before she and the kids moved into my place. The apartment wasn't huge, but I made space. Gave the kids their own room, rearranged the kitchen to fit her stuff, and suddenly it felt like I had a real family. It took time, but those kids started calling me Dad. They trusted me. To make sure they never went without, I picked up a second job. During the day, I worked at the shop. At night, I picked up deliveries and odd handyman gigs. I was exhausted most days, running on fumes and coffee. I wasn't rich, but I did everything I could to keep them comfortable. After a few years of dating, we got engaged. I told her I wanted to make it official. She cried. Said no one had ever looked at her the way I did. Said the kids were lucky to have me. We weren't perfect, but it felt real. I thought I had finally found where I belonged. I didn't need anything more until things started to change. If you've ever ignored your gut feeling because you didn't want it to be true, then you're not alone. The unraveling of my relationship with Angelina started with small, quiet moments that slowly started adding up. It was around the time we had started talking seriously about the wedding. I observed that Angelina started pulling away. That's the best way I can describe it. Conversations that used to be natural between us became forced as her attention was always buried in her phone. And when I asked what she was up to, I'd get the same tired line. It's just work stuff. Then she suddenly had more errands than usual. Grocery runs that used to take 30 minutes were now lasting 2 hours. A quick coffee with a friend turned into entire afternoons. And the weird part? She stopped telling me where she was going like she used to. Things got worse with time. She began getting irritated by the smallest things. And then, the fights started coming. Over nothing. I'd say the wrong thing, or maybe just the right thing at the wrong time, and boom, we're in another argument. That loving, warm energy that drew me to her in the first place was gone. And the kids felt it too, even if they didn't know how to explain it. I didn't know what to do. I spent weeks trying to figure it out. Was I doing something wrong? Was this just a rough patch? I'd replay our conversations in my head, trying to find where things went south. But every time I thought I was getting close to an answer, she'd shut me down again. I was confused, exhausted, and emotionally worn out. Then one afternoon, I was home from work early and was helping her youngest with a snack when he said something that got me thinking. He said, "Mommy's friend came over today. She said, he's our real dad. But she told us not to tell you." I paused. My brain couldn't process the words right away. "What did you say?" I asked, trying to stay calm. He repeated it, then went back to playing. I just stood there, trying to connect the dots. I went through the rest of the day on autopilot, but inside, I was trying to figure out how the hell to handle what I'd just heard. I spent the next couple of days playing out different versions of the conversation I was going to have with her. Part of me wanted to yell, to accuse, to demand an explanation. But the other part just wanted to hear the truth. I needed her to tell me what was going on. So after a couple of days of sitting with what her child had told me, I decided to talk to her one morning while the kids were still asleep. I sat her down and asked her two simple questions. I said, "Angelina, is your ex out of prison? Has he been by the house?" At first, she didn't say anything. Then she leaned back, crossed her arms, and shrugged. "I don't know," she said. "I don't even know if he's out." So I asked again, "Did he come by the house?" She narrowed her eyes at me and said, "You're being paranoid. Where is this even coming from? What, did you bug the house or something now?" I was asking her about something serious, and instead of giving me answers, she flipped the script and tried to make me the bad guy. "You don't trust me," she said. "You're always trying to control everything. Why do you need to know every little detail? You act like I'm a child who needs permission to breathe." She turned everything into some narrative about me being obsessive, about me being the problem. I kept my cool, though. I just looked at her and said, "All I'm asking for is the truth. If he's around, I deserve to know." She didn't respond, just stood up, walked away to the bedroom. I thought that would be the end of it. But instead, she gave me the cold shoulder for days like I'd done something unforgivable by even asking. She started acting like I was the one who broke trust. But even with all that, I didn't snap. I was still hoping, somewhere in the back of my mind, that she'd come around. That she'd say, "Okay, let's talk. Here's what's going on." But that moment never came. One night, after another dumb fight. I think it started because I asked her if she could at least text me when she decided to leave the house. That was it. But she blew up, said I was controlling, said I didn't trust her, and that I was always watching her. Before I could even get a word in, she grabbed her keys and stormed out of the house. She didn't come back that night. I waited and tried to stay calm. The next morning, she finally walked in. I asked her as calmly as I could, "Where were you?" She looked at me, paused for a second like she was deciding how honest to be, then said, "I reconnected with the kid's real dad. We've been talking for a while." I said, "What do you mean? How long has this been happening?" She just shrugged. "It doesn't matter." I couldn't believe it. After everything. She didn't stop there. She looked me right in the eyes and said, "The kids need their real dad. You're great, Everett, but it's different with him." I was speechless. Later that same day, she started packing her things and the kid stuff, and they left. I didn't say anything. I felt used, tossed aside like a fool. After they left, I entered one of the darkest times of my life. I grieved, but something inside me knew I couldn't keep living like that. So I made a decision. I was going to take my life back. I stopped overworking. I gave myself time to rest, to eat real food, to breathe. Then I found a therapist. Therapy helped me more than I can explain. It gave me space to talk, to process, to stop blaming myself for things that weren't my fault. I started realizing that I'd poured so much into other people, I had nothing left for myself. That needed to change. And slowly, I started feeling like a person again. Then one day I got a call. It was Angelina. She didn't even say hello properly. Just jumped straight in. Hey, just checking in. I was wondering why you haven't asked about the kids. I asked her why should I? They're with their father. And you know what she said? You're their father, too. I still want you in their lives. I took a deep breath and told her as calmly as I could, you made your choice. Don't call me again. Then I hung up. Blocked her number. A few months had gone by since Angelina packed her things, took the kids, and walked out of my life. Then one afternoon, I ran into a mutual friend, and we started catching up. Just casual stuff at first. Then the topic drifted to Angelina. The friend asked if I had heard what's going on with her. I shook my head. I hadn't, and I hadn't tried to. He sighed. It's bad. Her ex was back to his old ways. Drinking heavily, cheating, and when she tries to call him out on it, he hits her. I didn't say anything. The friend continued that the guy's never around. When he is, he's either drunk or shouting. And the kids are suffering. I just stood there, listening. I didn't ask for any of this. I didn't want to know it. But I felt bad not for her, but for the kids. They didn't ask for any of this chaos. They didn't get a say when I came into their lives. But even with that, I told myself that this wasn't my business anymore. It wasn't even a full month after that conversation on a Saturday morning, I had a knock on the door. I opened it, and there she was. Angelina. She didn't even say hi. The first thing that came out of her mouth was, I'm sorry. I made a mistake. I didn't say anything. She continued, her eyes already filled with tears. He's gone. He left again. I don't even know where he is. I can't do this. The kids, they ask for you every day. They miss you. I miss you. She took a step closer. Please. Just be in their lives again. You were their dad. You still are. I could hear the desperation in her voice. I looked her right in the eye and said, no, she froze. I won't let you use me again, I said. You made your choice. You tossed me away like I was just a placeholder. I'm not your plan B. I'm not a backup dad. She tried to speak, but I didn't let her. I stepped back and closed the door in her face. She knocked again. Then again. Then I heard her crying outside my door. But I didn't open it. Eventually, the knocking stopped. After that day, she called. She texted. Left voicemails. Long paragraphs begging me to forgive her. But I never responded. I blocked her everywhere. The biggest lesson I learned was never to let yourself be used in the name of love. Real love doesn't discard you when it's convenient. I know some of you watching might have your own opinions about how I handled everything. And you know what? That's okay. I get it. We all see life from different angles, and we all react to pain in our own ways. I'm not here to argue or defend every move I made. I'm just here to tell you how I lived through it. I don't blame Angelina. I don't even blame the kid's dad. I blame myself for ignoring the signs, for shrinking myself just to make room for someone else's chaos. I blame myself for thinking that love means sacrificing everything, even your own sanity. I should have put myself first. I should have protected my peace, my energy, my future. And now I know better. So, if this story hit something in you or made you reflect, I want you to share your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear what you think. And if you know someone who's stuck in a situation like this, someone who's giving their all to someone who sees them as a fallback plan, send them this video. Share it. Maybe it'll give them the wake-up call I wish I had years ago. Thanks for watching. Take care of yourself.